the government, and we just need to put ourselves together and provide the necessary required conditions for us to be able to benefit from those opportunities. Next slide. And then, as theme, this conference is looking at having policies that are inclusive and equitable for all. Again, this came up yesterday. How do we clean up the dirty politics of immigration? How do we have inclusive policies? And also, how do we make sure that immigrants access decent jobs without, again, going through that long process? Next slide. Next slide, please. Yes, so we also had remarks from the MPP, and of course, she acknowledged the fact that we need to continue supporting immigrants to transition once they come into Canada. And we also need to have, of course, the good news was a policy has been developed to remove the need for Canadian experience. I think we can attest to that for those members that were in here yesterday. So you no longer be required to ask, to defend yourself or to prove that you have Canadian experience and you're fit for the job you're applying for. Um, I think the government will communicate that later if it has not been officially made, but that's what she mentioned. And then also, the other important communication was that the government has added a curriculum on Black history into the education system, because we need to, for the new generation, we need to understand where we've come from. Um, we need to appreciate our education values and culture. So that came out from our communication. Next slide, please. Yes, there are also other opportunities that she talked about. We are going to have, the government is recognizing the fact that we need to change requirements from regulatory organizations to allow international students to get accreditation. So, of course, when you're going to work into the healthcare system and other professions, you have to have a bridging course, for instance. You have to prove that you're really qualified for those jobs. So the government is trying to work around ways of removing those barriers, so that we are able to benefit as immigrant communities. Next slide. Yes. So from the participants, those were the main key concerns. Why must I have to do an English test? I immigrated from England, for instance, not me, one of the participants. Why should I have to do an English test for me to join a university or for me to get a certain kind of job? Some of us come from countries where English is our first language. But again, you have to prove so hard that the English is efficient. So those were the concerns from the participants. And then also we've had anti-Black racism programs, but are they really effective enough? Are we eliminating